Merlin, we just got some mail in today. Me and you, we just got some mail in. For all you queer listeners on this podcast, I'm sure you are fully aware of the gay list that every gay has access to basically let them know that, whoever they're about to hit up is gay or not. This was founded in the earlier mid 20th century by Magnus Hirschfeld in Berlin. This was to help prevent any awkward interactions between hitting on someone you thought might be gay but turned out to be straight. But a new name has just dropped. A new name has been dropped on the queer gay watch out list, and I guess let's open it up. Let's see what this guy says here. Oh my God, Merlin, you'll never guess who's on the gay list. It's fucking incredible. It's the listener of this podcast right now. They just got found out as gay. You're gay now. How does that feel, loser?
K.O.
Gay programming.
Hello and welcome to the Gay Programming Podcast. As always, I am the host, FemMarks1, aka Marceline, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Merlin Kirby.
Hi.
Yo, yo, yo. So the last podcast, I'm pretty sure it was the last podcast. It's been a couple of weeks since we uploaded, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But the last episode, we mentioned a little incident that was happening essentially in the Florida prison system about how they're changing their whole system to not get actual live mail or anything like that. That's what we had heard initially. But we got some more information about that. But that's really Merlin's department because I'm a big old dumb bitch. So I'll be back in a minute with a riff. But for right now, Merlin's going to catch you up on that because we got more information. Take it away, boy.
Yeah, hi. So, for context, or for anyone who hadn't watched the last episode, a pen pal of mine who is incarcerated, very sweet lady, messaged me because I sent her half of a zine, and she was like, oh, if you want to send me the rest, do it before May 9th, because once that hits, I will not be able to receive physical mail anymore. And I was like, what the fuck? That sounds problematic. So she sent me, like, a paper on how to do, like, the JPay prison email sending system, pretty much, which I had avoided using because I love physically writing letters, and also I always told myself I would fucking die before I had to pay money to send a fucking email to somebody, but here I am.
It's also just like more personal that way too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Especially for someone who's like an incarcerated queer individual. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they're giving them tablets, and I sent her an email and I was like, hey, sorry I didn't respond super quickly. I got your letter after May 9th, so I could not send you the rest of the booklet, but how do I send you photos? How do I send you other things? Like, can I still communicate with you in ways other than email? And I just said I had a lot of questions and concerns, and...
Did you just get this today?
Yeah, I emailed her today, and she responded in like a few hours. So here's part of her response. Now let me see if I can try to make some sense of this new method of doing the mail. If you still have the address, the blank address, blank being the name of a city in Florida, it is not where she is incarcerated, though, so that's why I'm not saying the name. I don't want to share anything about her location other than just Florida. So I don't know what is at this address. I guess it's just some kind of HQ.
It's probably just some like facility that they just go through. It probably wouldn't. I would not even be shocked if it's like a specific district of like a UPS or something like that,
something
or
like
USPS or whatever.
Yeah, so she said that if I had that address, that is not hers, which I don't, and if I want, I can send mail, pictures, or pieces of the little book to me, and it will go to my gallery for the pictures and other stuff in the form of an email, which I can print out for 25 cents a page, or you can write an email, which is probably cheaper and easier. I and everybody else agree with you that a scanned letter is a lot less personal and not the same as holding a hand-drawn picture that your kid drew just for you. The new system was put in place to try and stop drugs from coming into the prison, but I don't like it. And
I would be very highly skeptical too of like how much of this was drugs getting in and versus just like, you know, some psychotic fucking measure to dehumanize these people even further, which has been a reoccurring fucking theme in the Florida like, you know, justice system, and especially its fucking prisons, which are fucking nightmarish worlds.
oh my gosh, absolutely. And like another thing that I even mentioned was like, because, you know, again, another thing I like to do is take pictures at the beach or of flowers and send them. And so I guess they definitely have like a personal tablet. She said, I would love some more pictures from you. I use them as wallpaper on my tablet, which is so sweet, but also so depressing in a way that she doesn't have the actual pictures and just like wallpaper on her tablet, which is so not the same.
Yeah, it's like the same shit where, you know, you see these like old school like I don't know what you would call them, but like just investment like tech shows, and where the like early introduction of like tablets and stuff, it's like we're really revolutionizing how people experience life, and it's like so fucking hollow. It's so not like anything that's genuine or anything. I know this sounds like a fucking tangent, but you know, I had a poetry park recently, and it struck me, one of my friends gave me a gift of taking a Polaroid of all of us for this poetry park, and you know, I was just struck by even like the technology versus like of how we preserve pictures now versus how we preserved pictures back then, where we had a lot of technology like Polaroid cameras that took physical pictures that were one of one. This is your one thing that you have. And now we, you know, take everything with our fucking phone and make like digital copies of it. And it does genuinely just make it more commodity friendly. It makes it less human. It makes it less personal and soulless. And I mean, again, like, you know, I hate to drive the point, but it really should be driven. I mean, like, the fucking emotional, the fucking like line walking anxiety of being someone in prison, especially like your friend who I know a little bit about, is like, you know, needs more than a fucking tablet background picture to maintain like, you know, any semblance of not just like being at peace, but like on a good track, you know? And it requires like human connections, and this is just another way of like fucking stealing it and saying, oh, we still have it. They have their fucking tablets. Don't cry about it, baby.
Yeah, and I like have to wonder too, like, do they have access to their tablets 24/7? Like,
Probably not.
because, you know, a tablet.
There's no fucking way. There's
Yeah,
no
because
fucking way.
like the thing is, you can have like a drawer or something full of like your paper letters or whatever, but
That you have to pay 25 cents to get
yeah,
per page.
But like with a tablet, I'm sure somebody somewhere is making the argument of like, oh no, they're expensive and they could break them, so we have to like store them. Or
they
something.
could use them to commit cyber crimes. Or
I-
whatever, like, some fucking psycho legislator in Florida comes up with.
Yeah.
We're not educated academic motherfuckers. We can't really give you more than what we know, but people should know about this little story, because it's important and a very humanizing story, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know much about, you know, the legal, you know, why and how this happened and what the wording is, and if it's something that can be protested against in any way, or what kind of effect something like that would have, but I think that's definitely something to keep an eye out. I don't know if other states are doing or considering the same thing. You might want to look into yours.
But the one general thing is, like, if there's anything, is that we should definitely, there has always been a need, and there continues to be a need to fight for people who are marginalized. And a lot of the people who are marginalized in this fucking country happen to be in our fucking prisons. And no one seems to be really treating that with any severity and care. because they just say, oh, well, they're criminals. They don't deserve any consideration. And I think that's, I don't know. I think that's just cynicism we all need to get over. And I think even understanding the smallest little thing of supporting that they should deserve a handwritten letter, the smallest of fucking, the smallest of fucking acts can do the world of difference, especially for queer convicts in this country, which there are many, many who are struggling even harder than someone who isn't incarcerated and is queer in this fucked up country of ours. It's been a couple of weeks. My bad. I'm a lazy bitch. I don't do my job, but you ain't paying me, so fuck you. But hey, no. In all seriousness. Been away for a little bit. So let's catch you up to what's been going on. What's been going on, girlfriend? Spill the tea, as the children say, I think. So what's been going on in your life? Merlin, I know what I got my list. What's up with you? How you doing?
Why don't you start with your list?
Okay, you want to start with my list? Yeah. Fine. Well, I mean, the number one most important thing on my list that we gotta talk with right here and now is I just saw the fucking Notebook for the first time. I was dragged. I was forced out of pocket by my fucking man. He beat me. He beat me to a pulp to get me to pay $3 to rent the Notebook on Amazon Prime. And, this is the first time I've ever seen it. I never saw it because, when, I was originally a little boy in Florida who was like, I can't be seen as gay. Even though I have gay parents, I can't be gay. No one can see. So I don't like the Powerpuff Girls. I've never seen the Notebook, even though Ryan Gosling is a dreamboat. And he's beautiful eyes, and he wants to hold me so majestically. What are your opinions on the Notebook? I know you love it. That's why you forced me to see it.
My opinions on the Notebook?
Yeah.
Well, the girl's so abusive.
Yeah, that dumb bitch. Like, the things I learned from the Notebook are here. Okay, so first off, women can't drive. That's the first big thing.
No, that other woman can. And her mom can. She just can't. She runs into fences.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, her actions behind the wheel have damned all women, including me, to ever drive a wheel again, because we will crash into fences because we're too busy looking at Ryan Gosling's cute look of being drunk. Also, too, second thing I learned from the Notebook, God will strike your ass down with Alzheimer's if you dare cheat on your fucking fiance. That's the second rule. That fight, and it's true, man. He will strike your ass down. And 3, I don't know. There's something else I learned from it, but those are the two big ones. I guess love conquers all. That's the third one I learned. And rich people suck, but I already knew that. But yeah, do you really like it? Was it like important in your life? Were you swooning over Ryan Gosling?
No. I did not swoon over either of the characters. It's really funny. For a movie that I kind of do like a lot, because for those of you who don't know this about me, rom-coms are my favorite genre.
It's true. He's like obsessed. Like it's rom-com and then like followed very slightly by horror.
Yeah.
But like a really dumb horror. Like he doesn't watch anything that's good. Like he'll just watch The Boy too.
Yeah, no, like I was at that point in my life where like I would see a t-shirt with like some random unknown rom-com quote on it and I'd be like, oh, that's from 50 First Dates, minute 23, where Adam Sandler, like, I don't know, I was just like really fucking
but you don't know Tom Hanks's You Got Mail, which I feel is like one of the like quintessential rom-coms.
But anyway, no, I was too busy watching The Notebook.
Why do you like it so much?
Yeah, no, anyway, for a movie that I really kind of like, I really hate every single character in it. Just all of them as individuals, I don't think are good.
I'm trying to think of like what. Well, actually, there's one character who I really sympathize with.
Yeah.
The fucking worker guy who the mother's
Yeah.
like thirsting over.
Yeah.
Like he's literally just living his fucking life. Like nothing's fucking bothering him.
Every single day he considers a restraining order.
He just sees this fucking bitch over there,
Yeah,
like just
like,
staring
dumped
at
him.
him. And, like
Yeah.
he's like, I could have had you.
Mm.
Like he's the most sympathetic character in the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of it, unfortunately, is just straight people being obnoxious. The one thing I will give this movie so much credit for, as someone who grew up below the poverty line, that fucking scene where he's at the table with her and her rich family.
Yeah, that is
Oh
probably
my
one of the
God.
strongest scenes. I feel like I feel like I saw that at like a film instructor use that scene to be like demonstrate how you could use like how you could demonstrate class through like, and even though that example is a very heavy-handed one, but hey, it's probably one of the best scenes in the whole fucking movie.
Oh yeah, like just the way they're talking about him and making these weird, like, he'll answer like what he does for a living, and there's just this like awkward silence, and like you can feel the disapproval. Like I've fucking been in that seat, and like, oh my god, yeah. So I really like that.
Yeah, with my
it.
family, in my palatial estate, out in the countryside.
Nah, I remember going into like one of my partners at the time. I remember going into his mom's house, and it literally had like fucking pillars on it, and I was like, oh.
Oh,
God.
that means they're not actually rich. They're wannabe rich.
Even worse.
They're rich
They're
enough
even
to
more
afford the
condescending.
column, but not rich enough to realize the column is worthless.
Yeah, no, and I just remember being like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to really choose my words carefully when I'm meeting the rest of his family. But no, I mean, yeah, rich people are weird, straight people are weird. That's really just the moral of the Notebook.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was, like, before we were recording, I was thinking, because I was like, oh, yeah, I want to mention that we, like, saw the Notebooks, why the fuck not? And, I was, like, starting to think, like, you know what it really reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, a lesser version of, like, Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, but like where the Titanic is like using this like love story as a frame to tell about the story of the Titanic and like the plot of that and the huge class implications with that and the straight up like murder of like all these like poor people. But in the Notebook it's just like, nah, it's just like Ryan Gosling likes this bitch and this bitch really likes Ryan Gosling and they're just in love. They love each other for all time, and also they die as an old couple.
Yeah,
and you
it's
cried
just
like a bitch. You
did.
cried like a bitch during that.
I never cried at like TV or movies or anything until after I started testosterone, and even now that I'm off it, I still cry at like movies.
I laugh at you crying at the Notebook and saying that you cry like a bitch, but I guarantee you, we fucking put on Toy Story 3 right now, that fucking scene where fucking Andy gives away his toys, I will fucking cry like a bitch.
Really? I never liked Toy Story.
Well, it was a big part of my life. I love Toy Story. Yeah, it's great. It's one of my faves. I love that one. We should watch that now. Fuck this
I want to
podcast.
watch Toy Story.
We're breaking up. This is the official call of the gay programming breakup.
I don't like the way it looks. Like I look at it and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I will say the original, it is not aged well. The textures look like garbage. Woody looks like a demon from hell with eyebrows like just fucking pasted onto his face. Yeah, but hey, guess what? I was joking. That wasn't the most important thing that I started was watching the Notebook. I started estrogen. I guess now, because today is Monday. So yeah, a week and a day. It's been a week and a day with estrogen, and I am pissed. Folks, I am pissed on estrogen. Because let's just say they lied to me. Well, I didn't listen to the information they gave me, but they lied to me. That's that, because I was hoping the next day I started taking it, I'd have big old anime tits and a cute cat girl voice. But guess what I don't have? I don't have any of that and a big dick. Like, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely horrible. How long is this going to be? And then you tell me it's going to be like 6 months. And I'm like, what? Like, to get to big tit? And like, no, 6 months to like, for it to start, like, being noticeable. And I was furious. You were there. I broke plates. I was yelling at Lazarus, our pet bearded dragon. I was screaming at him, like, you're a disappointment, you're adopted. I was taking out all my frustration on him, drunk on wine.
I didn't say anything about 6 months. I don't know that shit yet.
No. Well, goddamn.
You're making up stories.
Merlin, we need to take an improv class together.
It's
about yes and. Yes and.
I mean, I remember when I started testosterone, it was by the end of the week, that was the first change, was I grew a dick. And I was like, ugh. And then nothing else happened for like 3 months. But, so yeah, hormones are weird.
Yeah. But, no, it's been a really great experience. I'm joking, of course. It's, I've just started it, so it's kind of been like a really great moment of just like, oh, I'm finally here. I'm finally doing this. I've thought about it for like years. I found out about it, and I was like, I thought about it and sat on it for so long. And now I'm here, baby. I'm here taking the tit juice. Raw taking the pills every day. And that was a big reason why there probably wasn't a lot of, I don't know, I couldn't bring myself to like put output out or anything like that. So I kind of just said fuck it and didn't, and just kind of sat with the estrogen. I basically like just dedicated all my time to getting on estrogen. I got on estrogen, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to doing the podcast. And then I took it, and I'm like, I can't do it. But now I was like, fuck it, I want to do something. So here we're recording an episode to catch up on that, because I think I've talked about this maybe on previous episodes or maybe to other people, but, of just like the tremendous stress that it is being someone who creates content and who happens to be trans, because being trans just in general is it takes a lot of more mental fortitude and causes a lot of stress and exhaustion, emotionally speaking. And to get yourself to a point to actually want to contribute and share something fun or creative or, just like whatever you're trying to do to like an audience could also take a lot of fucking energy. And as a trans person, I'm already using that fucking energy to just like even get through the day and not like scream in the fucking pillow or whatever. But it's also a really great time, like trying to share and experience this, but, it also requires a lot of energy. So I needed kind of a break of just even, taking some me time. And hey, this podcast is kind of that nature, so you might not see us for a week or two, but you'll get us back. We'll always come back. We love you, kids. We're not getting divorced. Don't you worry. When did you exactly start testosterone for the first time?
April, when I was 17. I remember so much. Like, my mom. I needed my mom's permission because I was a minor. I would not leave that poor woman alone. Literally, I was so obnoxious. Because I came out to my mom as trans for the first time when I was like 12, and then we never spoke about it again, and she kind of completely forgot. And then one day I went out in the living room and I was like, I want to start testosterone. And she was like, what the fuck, man? And she cited a lot of dumb reasons as to why she was not into the idea. And I was like,
do you want to tell everyone the book that she was going to write?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her autobiography.
Yeah.
Tell her the title. Tell everybody the title.
I don't even remember the title.
I think I remember, or at least I'm going to ad-lib at least close to it. It was like something along the lines of like all the reasons my trans son fucked me over or something like that.
No, I remember. She was like, why can't I write a book about, like, the experience of being the parent of a trans kid? And I was like, because I know the entire book is going to be transphobic.
Really?
This was in response to me writing a book that I've been in progress writing for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's almost done. It's about to be released next week.
It's
dropping next week.
I've been considered scrapping the whole thing and starting again. Because my first book was easy, because I just didn't give a shit. But now I'm like, oh, it's my second one. It's got to be good. And it's been preventing me severely.
Don't worry, babe. Listen, just like this podcast, sometimes you have to just get up when you're fucking hungover, vomiting viciously, and just make funny jokes sometimes on the mic. That's what you gotta do with writing. You just gotta write.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's my inspirational story. So, again, drop it next week, everybody!
But yeah, anyway, so she said no, even though I was working full-time, paying for it myself, like all that stuff. And she was just like, no, I'm not going to sign your silly little paper. So I wouldn't leave her alone. Like, anytime she asked anything of me, like, oh, can you come and help me, like, clean your aunt's house next week? I'd be like, I don't know, can I start testosterone? Like, every fucking time for, like, 4 weeks, I would not leave her alone.
Yeah.
And then she was like, God, fine. And I was like, okay.
I'm really glad I was able to just, like, not, like, I started this whole process, unfortunately, but also, like, thankfully, to skip over it when I was an adult, so I didn't need to get anyone's fucking permission. They said, you want it? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you want to sign this release form that says you're cool with doing it? Yeah. Cool, here's your tit pills. It was very easy. It was not a very long or hard process at all.
I had to pay $30 for an Uber to like 3 cities over to see the one gender specialized psychiatrist in Florida to diagnose me with gender dysphoria.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's literally like one fucking doctor who does like top surgeries in the whole fucking goddamn place, really.
Oh, there's more.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I to tell you the truth, the only person I know is one guy, and he's like handled every single person I've known.
Well, that's because he's the best.
Yeah, he is the best.
But no, there's like, I think I know of like 4 at least. Anyway,
but still, not a huge selection. No.
But I was so mad because when I went to Planned Parenthood, they didn't even ask for that psychiatrist letter, and I was like, I paid $250 out of pocket to this woman, and you aren't even asking for it. But it's fine. It's cool. It's good.
Yeah, you're here now.
I am here now, and testosterone didn't even do anything for me.
Yes, it did.
No.
Yes, it did. It did. It made your voice deeper. Gave you a big old dick. Big old monster dick. It made you grow 6 feet tall. That's incredible. Like, wow. And like,
it made me shrink, actually. I'm even shorter.
I mean, like, when you were on T, like, what was, like, some of the first effects that you had?
Ironically, my mustache.
Yeah, like, man, it is like a reoccurring theme with all like trans masks with their fucking pedo mustaches. They love them. They all want their Gomez mustaches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did help myself out. I darkened it a little bit. I still darken it a little bit.
All those trans
tell
masks.
Anybody. My voice was pretty drastic. I will, like, as much as I like to be really bitter and angry and be like, T didn't do anything, I hated my experience on T, like, glad I took it, but I am very bitter about it. I feel very cheated by it in a lot of ways, but that's just my own mental problems. I will say, though, probably the most drastic change I have gotten was my voice. Because you didn't know me before I dropped, but fucking high. Like,
oh no, I've heard it. It's like, that dog whistle. It was kind of like that register of height. You couldn't even hear it. Only dogs could, and they squealed.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, like, my voice is not even deep, but, like, by comparison, holy shit. Like, as I've mentioned, people have called me on the phone from like after years of not talking and been like, "Oh, sorry, I was looking for Merlin," and I'm like, um, it gave me eyebrows. I was a little kind of auburn-haired, blonde-haired child, so I did not have eyebrows. Um, and people have claimed my face is a different shape.
Yeah, I've seen pictures before. It's minor like all of them, but
Yeah.
but it does something to the face. I don't even, like, I'm not a doctor, so I can't be like,
No,
the fat moves there, you see, and
does.
that, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it does do something to your face. I've noticed that. I wanted to ask, too, if you're comfortable, since you have a pretty in-depth experience of very negative reactions coming from parents over, like, transitioning, and not even just like general confusion, but like actual like animosity or negativity. Like, what do you think that comes from? Is it just like a pure reactionary? Like, I've heard about trans people and like it's the scary Steven Crowder version or whatever. Like, it's whatever Ben Shapiro tells me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to say it's different for each parent. Like they're all they all hate it for different reasons.
Yeah, I know, like on the cope, but like the base of
Yeah.
it, is it coming from like any kind of care? Like, oh, my child shouldn't be that, or is it just like pure like disgust?
I think it's more so in a lot of ways. I think a lot of like cis people, and as this goes for anyone who doesn't experience certain things. Like I view it kind of similarly to when people are weird or shitty with me for having to have certain boundaries due to having schizoaffective. Like, I think cis parents don't see the necessity of all of it. They don't see the urgentness and necessity to transition for a lot of trans people. Obviously, you may not want to transition, that's great. But, like, for most people, it is like, no, this is something I have to do. It's not compromising, it's not going away. And when you're on the outside, it's very hard to fully comprehend that. So I think, all they know is, the ways that it might inconvenience them or confuse them, or they're like, oh, well, I have to put up with all this newness that I didn't sign up for, and I don't understand why. Um, that's what I think it is. It's my guess.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't help too that just like there is just like so much education that just kind of like goes over people's face, and I think also like it's a very personal journey of education on oneself, and then when you're finally ready to like come out, it's just kind of like, I don't know, they're like starting at square one
Yeah.
when you're like already all the way over here.
Oh, yeah, no, for them it's out of the blue.
Yeah.
But for you, it's been building for like the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's just like, I remember, when one of my parents was like asking, like, oh, is this like, do you think this is just going to be a phase? Like, and I've had like similar anxieties and questions in my own like head. And the only thing I can like dissuade that from me is like, just remember like all the weird, well, not, I shouldn't say weird, but all the signs of, me having a hunger for something that couldn't be explained, or like a desire. I don't even know how to like specifically describe it, where, I would take my parents' clothes and like, dress like a woman. And that, like, when no one was around, and it wouldn't even be in like sexual ways necessarily. But it would also, like, it would be through like just like a desire to be like that, to dress like that. And I just remember that, like, and that was, before I was on fucking internet. That was before like, I saw anything that would quote unquote program me to be trans, what our fucking podcast name is like making fun of. This is just something that's like purely innate in me. And, I've been, again, I've been reading people like Magnus Hirschfeld who, like, study this shit, and who did study this shit. And then just people now of trans people I've met in my community here and listening to their stories. There's a lot of science behind this. This is a real identity. This isn't just some fucking like what your parents thought, or my parents sometimes think about, like, oh, this is just like a cultural fad, like something you do. It's like hair metal or whatever. It's just something you get into, and not realize that this is a real identity. This is a real, this is a real thing. It's something that's in your bones. You can't really explain it. It's something as integral to you as, I don't know, who you love. I don't know. I mean, it really is like, it can't be explained. It can only be lived and learned from.
Yeah, like, that's the other thing to it, because I'm just like, man, like, there totally is, and that's great, but, like, even if there wasn't, like, tons of, like, psychologists and doctors and, like, people backing this up, and it's like, who cares? Like, if there was no science behind, like, proving that trans people are real, and it's just like, why are we having to consult professionals over whether or not people are real? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I totally agree with you that, like, we should just be, like, taken, like, on the principle of it. Like, I literally had, like, I'm not going to say just, like, their name or anything, but there was literally, like, I had an incident recently where, somebody basically came out with, like, a new name and, like, reaffirmed their, like, pronouns to me. And, like, I just, like a good fucking person, just was like, oh, okay, that's your, like, no, there's no need for questions like, whoa, how did you come to this opinion or whatever. That's just, like, classic fucking, like, bigotry 101 of, like, how do you get away with being a bigot is you say, like, well, I'm trying to understand because I'm sophisticated, but you're ultimately the imposer of, like, oppression.
Yeah.
Headlines from the news to close out for today. The hottest thing that I really liked, I told you a little bit about this in the car. Guess who just got murked? Guess who got murked? That's right, fucking Mona Lisa, bitch.
Not really, though.
She got murked. She is destroyed. There is no more Mona Lisa. It is gonzo. We are done with that painting. Yeah, man, so get this. Fucking, I'm gonna lay down the scene for you. It's fucking Paris, France. There's a little old lady in a wheelchair. She fucking rolls up. She rolls up into the fucking, the place.
Suspiciously, she looks kind of like a 20-year-old guy.
Yeah, she looks nothing like an old lady whatsoever. She's literally got, like, drip attire, but she's got a scarf. So that's very old lady-like. But she's got a cake too. She's just randomly, but she rolls up into the fucking, the Triangle building, fucking museum in Paris, France. Fucking rolls up there with a cake and fucking goes to the Mona Lisa and says, something along the lines of, like, some like, oh, the world is burning, think of the world, or something along those lines. Throws the cake in the fucking at the Mona Lisa. But if you've ever seen the actual original OG copy of the Mona Lisa in Paris, France, it is behind a big old sheet of bulletproof glass. So it really, basically, the cake just hit the fucking glass. But it is funny to believe that this guy tried to destroy the Mona Lisa for climate change.
Would it have even destroyed it, though? Like, couldn't they just scrape
it would
off.
have if that
I'm
cake
sure it would've
actually
fucked it
got
up,
it
but,
would have
like-
not been like a pleasant process of like restoring it, because you can't just wipe it off. You have to like go somewhere. That's why they put it behind bulletproof glass.
I know, but like, it's the Mona Lisa. They do it, and it would be fine. And then like,
Yeah, just wipe it. Yeah, well, then it will end up like that fucking Jesus that like one woman fucked up. Did you ever see that?
No.
There's a story of that like there was this Jesus painting, and there was like just some woman who was gonna like because every painting like gets rectified or whatever, like they spruce it up,
Yeah.
they put it back, and this woman basically just like fucked up this like really famous like Jesus painting and like made it look like a fucking Ewok. Like it looks horrible. It looks horrifying.
Nice.
And yeah, it was this big whole story. It was such a viral story that she actually demanded the museum pay her for her art of destroying this famous piece. And that's honestly what this guy, this 20-year-old something man who tried to do a viral piece of destroying the Mona Lisa should have done. Should have gotten hired at the museum on the spruce up team, and one day when he's about to get it done, he fucks it up. He fucking like gets a Sharpie and writes on her forehead, "Think of the Earth, go green."
Draws a little mustache.
Yeah,
And
draws a
monocle.
little mustache. She's George Bush doesn't care about black people, like over on the side.
Yeah.
Like that. That's how you really do real crimes. That's how you do real fucking crimes. And this I mean, first off, they're French, so surprise, surprise, they can't do crime. But yeah, hey, that was a little story I wanted to spruce up everybody. One last little thing I also want to end on is I have not read anything about it, but the one thing I have been reading about it has been the response. There's, of course, everyone's fucking heard of it, or at least been in like the general zeitgeist of the fucking news. There's been another goddamn shooting in Texas. Just another massacre happening in fucking America. And the response has been awesome on both sides, of people just being absolute mouth-breathing invalids. Have you seen any of this?
Yeah.
It's been great. What's some of your favorite lines?
Thoughts and prayers, classic.
That's a really great one. That is like a true OG classic. I love the thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
And
like, I mean, have you seen like some of the bullshit the cops pulled?
like what? I've seen a lot of bullshit, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've seen your bullshit.
Well, I saw something recently, I think it might have even been today, where... God, I'm sorry. I should not laugh. This was horrible, I should not laugh, but...
It is funny, though.
Sometimes you just see such... Like, it's almost kind of a religious experience to see such high levels of incompetence. Anyway, I guess one of the cops shouted, like, oh... without entering the building, like, yell if you need help. Little fucking girl yells help. Guess what the shooter does? Finds her and shoots her.
Yeah.
And I'm just... It's there's a man with a gun in an elementary school who doesn't need help. Like,
I mean, it's just clear, like, all the fucking stories I've heard of just these, like, literally, like, the 4 fucking stooges, just like the fucking like the dopest. These are the cops that like trip on fucking banana peels, man. Like I should say Texas Rangers who drop on fucking like banana peels. They're fucking they were like, this is just like classic. If anything, honestly, the real takeaway that we should really be taking away from this, like, there's a lot of things we should be taking away from this, of course, but the one thing absolutely is that fucking, especially the Texas Rangers, but pretty much all like law enforcement like forces like that are fucking useless. There's no use to have them.
no, I don't know why we have to keep repeating it.
They cannot do anything. They are dumb as shit, and they fucking fail constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at least I can't say this is the first time involving a cops and dead children where they didn't shoot them. So at least they're getting a little better. They're not the ones murdering the children, but they're certainly not stopping the madmen with the guns.
Yeah.
Which is again is another funny thing because I think back to like that fucking another classic conservative trope of like, oh, the only reason why there's high crime rates is there's not a lot of good guys with guns around. Well, I don't know about that because this is fucking Texas. One guy fucking killed almost 30 plus kids, and while 4 cops were trying to squeeze through the door all at the same time.
Are you kidding me? They were like as far away from that building as they probably could have been.
They were like 50 feet.
They did not want to get close. It's like the other thing, like I already told you about this, but I think so much about how, like, you know, when we keep saying, like, abolish the police, they show up after the crime has occurred. They don't help anyone. And people always respond with, like, oh, cops put their lives on the line in the line of service, and it's like, no, they fucking don't.
Well, I'm like, this incident is proving you very wrong, because we got, like, literally a squad of dipshits who, like, won't do the thing that they're literally hired to do. The one incident where we would need the Rangers, they weren't there.
Well, yeah, no, and it's just, like, cops, like, are not, like, there's no requirement that they have to, like, risk their life. Like, in fact, if you call the police and you're, like, endangering them, they could fucking charge you and arrest you for that. And there's just, like, I don't know, it's just more, like, glorifying cop bullshit. But it's like, guys, please just listen. I don't know. I think about it a lot and how much I resent the fact that cops exist, but...
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, you're speaking my language, brother. Yeah, I mean, that's why, you know, I'm a full supporter. I'm laying down my policy right now. We get like 6 non-binary people with fucking guns. We get 6 non-binary bussies with guns patrolling the street. There ain't gonna be no crime. There's just not gonna be any crime. They don't even need guns, man. They'll fucking kung fu their ass. They'll dance silly little dances up to you, and they will fucking chop your goddamn throat right in the middle of the street and kill you right there. If 6 non-binary ninjas were at that fucking Texas school, let me say there'd be a massacre, but it wouldn't be those students. It'd be that fucking shooter. That's right. Well, thank you again for listening to another episode of the greatest podcast of all time, Gay Programming. If you like this, be sure to follow us on our Instagram, Gay Programming. I also have an Instagram where I upload my zines and poems by the name of FemMarks1. And Merlin also has an Instagram by the name of Angsty Vegan. You can also find us on our YouTube, Gay Programming, and yeah, we try to upload weekly, but hey man, we take breaks, because, you know, that's the kind of baller life we live.
We work full time and we're very tired.
I work 2 jobs, okay, so yeah, this is, you're a hobby, okay? Listener, you're a fucking hobby.
Yeah, unfortunately, Portland is expensive.
Yeah, but yeah, we love you, and hopefully we'll see you again real soon. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.